We all kind of assume that a richer country is a happier one, right? But the latest World Happiness Report, well, it throws a huge wrench in that idea. It turns out the link between a nation's wealth and how happy its people are is a total puzzle. So today, let's try and piece it all together. Okay, so just look at this data. It just doesn't add up, does it? You've got Finland, number one, high GDP. Okay, that makes sense. But then, whoa, look at Costa Rica, ranked an incredible fourth with just a medium GDP. And the real head-scratcher? South Korea. I mean, this is a major economic powerhouse, high GDP, but their happiness rank is all the way down at 67. How is that even possible? So that really gets to the heart of it, right? If a booming economy isn't the magic ticket to a happy population, then what is? Well, that's what we're going to dig into. We're going to explore 3 totally different cultural approaches from around the world to try and find some answers. All right, first up, let's tackle this paradox head-on, the case of the prosperous but, well, unhappy nation. And our main example here is South Korea. Believe me, its story is a fascinating and maybe even a cautionary tale. I mean, just look at this timeline. The trend is, well, it's undeniable. Even though the economy is strong, South Korea's happiness has been in a total freefall. We're talking a drop of 15 places in just 2 years. This isn't just some random blip on the radar. This is a serious pattern, and we need to figure out why. So what's really going on here? What's driving this unhappiness? This chart gives us a clue. While people seem pretty happy with their family lives, there's some deep dissatisfaction brewing everywhere else. Look at this. Only 39% are satisfied with their personal finances. And even fewer are happy with the country's bigger social and economic picture. That's a huge deal. To really get this, we have to talk about a pretty famous economic idea called the Easterland paradox. And honestly, it perfectly captures this whole mystery. Think about it like this. Inside any country, at any one time, sure, richer people tend to be a bit happier than poorer people. But, and this is the big twist, as the whole country gets richer over many years, the overall happiness level just stays flat. It doesn't go up. So why? Why does this happen? Well, it all comes down to one simple, very human thing: social comparison. We just can't help but measure ourselves against the people around us. So when everyone's income goes up, the goalposts just move. Suddenly, your brand new, bigger salary is being compared to your neighbor's brand new, bigger salary. And just like that, poof, the happiness boost is pretty much canceled out. It's like you're on a treadmill. And this quote from the CEO of Ipsos Korea, man, it just absolutely nails it. It takes that big economic theory and connects it right to what's happening on the ground. It's not just about money. It's about a culture that's built on this relentless competition and comparison. And that creates this treadmill of dissatisfaction where the feeling of enough is always, always just out of reach. Okay, so that's the comparison trap. Pretty grim, right? But now let's pivot and look at a potential antidote. For this, we're heading to the Nordic countries. These are the places that really seem to have cracked the happiness code, and they're always at the top of the charts. 9 years in a row. Just let that sink in for a second. Finland has been number 1 for 9 straight years. That is not an accident. It's the result of a totally different way of thinking about society. And hey, it's not just Finland. All its Nordic neighbors are right there with it, consistently in the top 10. So what's their secret? Well, at the very heart of this Nordic success story is this kind of unspoken cultural code. It's called Jante Law. And you can think of it as the social antidote to that comparison trap we were just talking about. It's a whole mindset that basically says, hey, let's not try to one-up each other. Instead, it's all about the group, the collective good, and a really deep sense of equality. Now, I gotta be honest, some of the principles of Jante Law can sound kind of jarring, especially if you're not from there. Listen to these. You are not to think you are special. You are not to think you are better than us. But here's the key. This isn't about crushing people's ambition. It's about building humility, taking the social pressure down a notch, and making the community bonds that much stronger. And this cultural idea, it's backed up by some incredibly strong institutions. You can actually see it in things like their immense social trust. I mean, they're famous for the lost wallet test. If you drop your wallet, chances are you're getting it back. A staggering 96% of Finns feel they have someone to count on when things get tough. It's all built on a foundation of low corruption and high generosity. It's really a complete ecosystem for well-being. Okay, so we've got the comparison trap on one side and the humility blueprint on the other. But there is a third way. And honestly, this one might be the most surprising of all. Let's head over to Latin America, a place where happiness and money seem to be playing by completely different rules. Researchers actually have a name for this. They call it the well-being paradox of Latin America. You have countries like Costa Rica, Mexico, El Salvador. They face some pretty serious economic and political challenges, right? And yet, their people report levels of life satisfaction that are right up there with some of the wealthiest nations on the planet. It's wild. And just like the Nordics have Jante law, this region has its own cultural anchor. In Costa Rica, you hear it everywhere. Pura vida. It means pure life. But it is so much more than just a saying. It's a whole philosophy. It's all about having a relaxed, simple, optimistic attitude that puts relationships and just enjoying life way ahead of material wealth. Now get this, check out this data. The World Happiness Report isn't just about how satisfied are you with life, it also asks about your daily emotions. And guess what? Latin American countries consistently lead the entire world in how often people feel positive emotions. We're talking laughter, enjoyment, feeling interested. Put simply, they are literally having more fun. So here's the key takeaway for this region. Its greatest asset isn't money, it's people. The real driver of all this resilience and positivity is the huge value they place on close, warm relationships. Family, friends, community. For them, this isn't just a nice to have. It is the absolute center of life. All right, we've just walked through 3 incredibly different paths. One that seems to lead away from happiness, and 2 that seem to lead right to it. So now, let's put them all side by side and see what we've learned. This table really just lays it all out, nice and simple. You've got the Nordic model, right? That's all about equality and social trust. Then there's that East Asian model we looked at, which is so focused on achievement and economic growth that it becomes a trap. And finally, the Latin American model, which thrives on connection and a strong social fabric. You see, 3 totally different core values, leading to 3 wildly different outcomes. And that, right there, brings us to the biggest takeaway from this whole thing. It is so much less about what a society has, and so much more about how its people live together. It's not about the size of the economy, it's about the quality of our connections. You could say happiness is a team sport. So really it all boils down to a fundamental choice. You can have a society built on social comparison, which creates a kind of happiness trap, a race that never ends, where the goalposts are always moving. Or you can have a society built on social connection, which creates a support system, a safety net that builds real, lasting, collective well-being. And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. We've looked at 3 really different recipes for happiness from around the globe. So now, maybe it's time to turn the question around and ask, what's your society's recipe for happiness? And more importantly, is it actually working?